Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I miss all of you, and I hope you're having a splendid week so far. So yesterday we made homemade play-doh, most of us. For those who did not, every sculpture we create with our play-doh, you will be sketching the sculpture according to the topic that we're doing. So today we're going to be sculpting animals, so you will be sketching an animal of your choosing. I picked a moose because it just kind of happened. I was playing with the Play-Doh and I started to see a shape and I ran with it. So I pulled up a photo of my moose and I'm using it as a reference. I'd like you all to work from a reference because how the heck are you gonna make an animal without actually seeing what it looks like? So knead your dough, ball it up, and you can start any way you'd like. I am squishing my Play-Doh to kind of get a general shape. You want to start extremely general at first, so I'm making a T shape for my moose, my big antlers, and the snout or the nose, and I'm just smoothing in the Play-Doh, pressing and smoothing. I want you to be adding and subtracting in this sculpture. So when I say adding, I mean just taking clay and adding it on top, mushing it in, and subtracting, taking it away, and adding those details. So right now I'm making my antlers. I'm squishing the clay or the Play-Doh together. It's kind of, again, like a trial and error kind of thing. Kind of don't know what I'm doing, but that's okay. I'm having fun with it. I want you guys to have fun with it. So I have a butter knife next to me. I don't use it very much until the end, but I'd like you to use kitchen tools if you need. Utilize your resources. You can just use your hands if you'd like, but kitchen tools might help you achieve some cool texture or get some good detail that you wouldn't otherwise achieve with your fingers. So my head was looking a little bit too long, so I ripped some off the top, and now I'm pressing in my eyes. I'm pressing in eye sockets. Meese, is that the plural of moose? Meese, right? Meese have wide set eyes, so I just kind of poked them in on the sides. If you are making an animal and you're like, oh my gosh, this looks nothing like anything, it's just a blob, try to make like a cartoon. Have fun with it. I want you to be proud of what you're making. So yeah, make a cartoon animal if that's a little bit easier than something realistic. But just keep practicing. If you're making something and you like it, but you kind of want to go a different direction, well, I'm just like ripping off the antler right now and mushing it around. But take photos as you go. Take process or progress photos and show me what you're making and what you're working through. Don't just settle on one design or one effort. Keep trying. It's fun to play with. So and so you can make pieces. Right now I'm making the antler separately, and then attach them after the fact by just smoothing it in. No need to score and slip. Although we would, of course, with our earthenware at school or clay, we do not need to score and slip, especially because these sculptures are not going to be permanent. They're going to be temporary, and we're going to mash them at the end. This is for practice purposes only, or play purposes. It's so important as artists to just play, to have fun, to do things you enjoy, rather than performing and always trying to perfect the thing that you're making. Because, if you don't practice, then you'll never be able to perfect the thing that you're making. So I hope that encourages you. So adding that piece on top of my antler added kind of like a high relief element, right? High relief is something protruding from a background, kind of far rather than in a shallow manner, right? And low relief is more shallow sculpture against a background. So I think it's kind of high relief. It's kind of bulky and protruding from my countertop. Okay, so now moving on to the nose again and kind of giving it more dimension because it's not just a flat shape, but it has raised parts of it and it sinks down in some areas, and you see that in the shadow, whatever picture you're using. You see how the value changes, and that determines whether that part of the form is raised or sunken in because of the way the light is hitting it. And I'm adding in eyeballs into my eye sockets, and then I'm going to kind of cover the tops of those balls with the eyelids, because our eyelids cover our eyes, right? It's protective. It's makes us not look like murderers, like bulging eyes all the time, right? And I'm just continuing to add detail and pressing in and defining those eye sockets. And so you might not, the recipe I used was the one you used, but I halved it, so I only have half the amount of clay that you have. And so if you did that, that's wonderful. If you didn't do that and you have this giant blob of clay that you have no idea what to do with, or you don't want to make a sculpture that giant, then that's fine. Just cut it in half, or use what you'd like, and you can always have some extra on the side to add onto your sculpture when you need it. And so I'm adding to the top of my snout to build it up a little bit, make it a little bit more round, give it some more dimension. And I'm kind of smoothing it out a little, adding some nostrils, defining its mouth. So my Ceramics 1 kids, this is kind of like what we did on the first day, or one of the first days of class. We did those sculptionary figures, right? We did food and animals. I can't remember what else we did, but kind of like that, right? You're sculpting something freely and not worrying about how perfect it is, but you're still trying to make it recognizable, right? Trying to define it enough so it looks like the thing that you're making, right? And so you see, right, my video is going to be about 12 minutes long. Clearly, I did not spend 40 minutes sculpting this, and I'm not asking you to spend 40 minutes sculpting this. I would be delighted to hear that you did spend 40 minutes because you were loving it so much. So I'm fine if you only spend 12 minutes on it, but you should not be turning in a photo of a blob or something that I would not be able to recognize. Please do your best to make something recognizable. Be creative, have fun, And here's a close-up. You see it's clearly not perfect and perfectly smooth, but it is smooth enough that it doesn't distract from the subject. And here's my reference image and my clay and my reference image and my clay. And now you're just going to mash it up, destroy it, say your goodbyes, have a eulogy or whatever it's called, and knead it and put it back in your airtight container or bag. Well, thanks guys for tuning in to my first awkward YouTube tutorial. Have a lovely day and enjoy sculpting, and I can't wait to see what you make.